partnership between DelFresco Pure and CubicFarms has resulted in the Living Cube, a system of automated vertical farming machines that continuously produces living lettuce, living basil, and microgreens all year long. To learn more about this exciting new venture, we sat down with the president of DelFresco Pure and the CEO of CubicFarms. So Dave, explain to us how this living growing system works.
Sure. So the CubicFarm is able to grow enormous amounts of produce in a small space using the least amount of labor, energy, and water possible. So as you can see in our machine, it brings every tray of produce to the front of the machine so that those that are planting or harvesting can literally be in one spot and quickly plant or quickly harvest. So our system is able to use far fewer lights than any other vertical farming system. You'll see we have one row of light at the top, but 7.5 trays of plant. We're able to do that because the lights are in the middle of these open-faced V's. So our light is at the top, but the trays are assembled in a V shape as they move throughout the system. Well, this lets every side of the plant get bathed in light. When you have a static system, you've got one row of light and one row of plant, and the light is really only shading just the top of the plant. And as the plant gets bigger, it begins to shade itself and its neighbor. Whereas with the trays moving through the system, they all get bathed in light on all sides, so you get wonderful, even, and very fast growing.
Why don't you tell us all a little bit about why you decided to partner up?
Well, funny thing happened about 4 months ago. I was at the produce convention in British Columbia, and I was asked to go see a new growing system. And I was offered a helicopter ride. So I didn't want to try a new growing system. I wasn't interested at all. But I took the helicopter ride and saw the beautiful mountains of BC, landed on Dave's farm, and saw something that really caught my eye. I really had confidence in their company because they are one of the largest propagators in North America. It provided a very clean, safe environment for growing lettuce, microgreens, and herbs.
So what are some of the benefits for how you grow the produce for Carl's customers?
So we have the option to be able to grow lettuce at various sizes. We can grow single serving size or dinner plate size, and we can supply it to the customer live with the root on, so that when they get it home, they cut the root off, put the whole thing on the plate. Or we can grow it larger, and then Carl's team is able to cut it and process it if that's what they want. But you now have the flexibility.
So Dave, what are some of the key environmental benefits of a cubic farm?
Well, there's several. First of all, because we're growing inside a climate-controlled growing chamber, we don't need pesticide. It's a clean environment. There's no pests. You don't need pesticide. And that's huge. Nobody wants to have pesticide with their dinner. Second of all is we're able to use the smallest amount of water possible. So whatever that plant needs to grow, that's all the water that is going to be utilized. We can even recapture water that evaporates as part of the process. And because the machine is built inside this climate-controlled growing chamber, you can put them anywhere on Earth. So instead of all of the lettuce needing to be grown in California or Arizona and shipped for thousands of miles, now Carl and his team are able to grow locally right in Ontario and ship to that region so that they can have fresh produce 52 weeks a year. And for certain kinds of crops that don't travel well, like leafy greens, they don't travel well. They should be grown where they're eaten. They just should.
Now, do you foresee growing things other than the lettuce and basil and microgreens?
Yeah, there's a wide variety of products that we can grow. It really depends on what Carl's customers are going to want. But because the machine is so flexible, the trays easily pop off. You can put larger trays. The inserts in the trays can be swapped out for different shapes and sizes. So there's a lot of flexibility with the system.
Other vertical farmers have been challenged economically. What makes Cubic Farms different?
That's a great question. The key is our machine. Farming requires a machine. If you were farming out in a field today, you would not do that without a tractor. If you're farming indoors, it's exactly the same. You need a machine. The difference with the CubicFarm is that our machine allows us to optimize every cubic foot of space for growing produce. Because the machine brings all of the trays of produce to the worker, you don't have to have hallways or access ways or reach lifts or anything like that. You can stand in one spot. You could sit on a stool with wheels on it, quite frankly, and just harvest your plants, put it right into the packaging. But the labor savings and the optimizing the space, it really differentiates the CubicFarm. And then having everything inside its own insulated growing chamber allows us to optimize for each crop. So whatever that crop wants to grow perfectly, that's exactly what we're going to give it every single time.